Hello, welcome back everyone to SwansCast. We're back with a podcast this week to discuss what's gone on in last week, being a Swansea City fan, and perhaps touch on some other championship stuff. Joined again by Lee, so thanks for coming once again.
Hello.
Been a little bit of I say roller coaster a lot talking about the Swans and the Russell Martin, but it was a little bit of a roller coaster, especially one game in particular. So we'll talk about that. But before we get into it, how's your week been?
Yeah, not bad. It's been quiet. I like it when we have a midweek game. I realise how much I missed that. It was good just to break up the week. It's really nice. It feels like you've done something in the week then, and then I missed being under the lights on a Tuesday night. There was something about it, and then it started so well. But no,
Yeah,
definitely missed the midweek game.
It was all right. Okay, so before we get into the Swans, then, as always, we really appreciate all of your support. So would massively love for the 30% of you that aren't currently subscribed, click the big red subscribe button down the bottom right of your screen, I think it is. Really helps us as on the podcast to keep going and creating the content. And it also helps you to see our new stuff when it does get put out, so it'll be put onto your feed. And you can also click the bell icon if you want to get notifications when we do a new upload. Obviously, we've got the podcast going at the moment. We've also started a new series of like pre-match videos that I catch up with someone from the opposition team who gives us a bit of information about their team from their perspective. So it gives us a bit more insight than us trying to maybe do some research into how they're playing. We earn it directly for someone who knows all about the club. So check that out. And we got some other stuff, hopefully, that we're going to try and bring into the podcast to make it a little bit more interactive and interesting going forward. So stay tuned for that. But we'll get started. And if you can share in your comments what your 3 words will be. But Lee, have you got your 3 words for the past week, which consists of 2 games, the 1-0 victory away at Blackpool and the 2-2 draw at home to Millwall?
I do have my 3 words. It changed a little bit from last week, but we've got better, expectation, and frustration.
Okay. And do you want to?
Yeah, do you want
elaborate?
me to go? So
yeah.
I put better because obviously it's a lot better. I think both performances, Blackpool and Millwall, 100 times better. Surprised he went. It sort of seemed like he went with a back 4 away at Blackpool.
Yeah, I think it was 4.
It was weird because it seemed like a back 4, but the wingers were kind of tucked in a bit. So it was a bit of a weird formation, but it seemed to work. I mean, they played so much better. I didn't think we created like thousands of great chances. We had a couple of decent chances. And I thought
Blackpool, yeah,
we're going Blackpool.
15 first. Shots, 5 on target altogether.
Yeah, I didn't think we created,
one big chance apparently. So I think that's where we scored, and we hit the post once as well.
Yeah, so I think it was 100 times better. I lost my train of thought now, but yeah, I think in the end. I think
forgot
probably
what you said your words were, to be honest.
Better was the first one, so we went with better first.
Yeah.
So I think we were probably lucky to get a win. I think I'm absolutely chuffed it came last minute, but they had obviously the penalty, which was never a penalty, and then they had a lovely chance just before that. I think Bowler was sort of like 1-on-1 with the keeper, and if he squares it, it's 1-0 to Blackpool. And then I think like from one of the resulting corners, then we get the break. And Obafemi does class, to be fair, and Cham to get up with him.
Yeah.
So I think we turned a 0-0 into a 1-0 win there. And the performance was much better.
They did have only 10 shots and 4 on target, so we did create more than them.
Yeah, I think we couldn't have complained with the draw there, I think, with the 0-0, apart from the chance that we had.
They apparently missed 2 big chances, so you could argue maybe they created better but fewer chances.
Yeah. But I think we tend to play better away anyway. I think we tend to play better away from home in general.
I think well at home when COVID was a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No pressure from the fans.
Without the pressure, which is dialing up a bit, I think. And then I don't know if I want to go on to the Millwall game. Expectation. And what I mean by that is I think like when I think, including myself, I think a lot of Swans fans are like expecting a lot more from the start of the season just because like we saw glimpses of how well we can play last season, and it was only glimpses.
Yeah.
And then he said about having a pre-season and everything, and I just think everyone thought that we were going to have this massive jump, that we were going to be brilliant.
Well, at
It was
least in
just
the bookies were saying,
yeah, I think everyone just thought all the problems we had last year were just going to go away. We were going to hit the ground running. We were going to be amazing this season, and that's deep down. I think we all thought that was going to happen. So when we've had a bit of a rocky start, and I think the Blackburn game is still, I still got a bit of PTSD from that Blackburn game. It was awful. I think just when that hit, I think we realised that we're just not where we expected to be. So I think rather than me getting like angrier now, which I was at the start, and I was not saying to get rid of Russell Martin, but I was questioning him a lot. I just think we need to manage expectation. I think we are quite far off from, at the moment, we're quite far off from being like promotion contenders. And I think we need to accept that. I think there's going to be so many games this year again that are going to be awful, and there's going to be times where we play really well. And I've kind of settled into that now. Whereas before, I was kind of like, oh, well, where's this progress? Come on, you said you wanted this. You said you were going to do this.
Progress,
and I was just waiting.
Finished 15th last year, didn't we?
Yeah. So I think we just need to manage expectation. I think Martin can be the right man to take us forward. I'm still on the fence a little bit, but I think he can be the right man to take us forward. But it's going to take more than a season like he had last year. I think it's going to take at least 2 years.
Yeah, I'd never necessarily expected to be like 1 year, right, that's it, we're going up. But I know in a pre-season video as well, where we did the table, I mean, we did it for a bit of fun for a start, but we did put Swans in top 6 because we didn't know who else to put there, kind of. And it was like, I don't know, let's just chuck them in. But really, we wanted to put them as like one of the teams that could get into the playoffs, and I could be down to like 10th, for example.
Yeah.
And I think if we're in that bracket, 10th or above, then that is probably right for the timeline. And then third season perhaps is the attack. But I'm not sure I fully agree that it's not necessarily possible this season, because Blackburn was horrendous, but he has like made an impact in the 2 games since to turn it round. Obviously, time will tell whether that can be consistent and he can keep going in that direction. And yeah, we'll talk about the games and the issues that did come as well. But I did see enough from the Millwall game, especially to show that there is potential that it can click this year. And I'm not saying we're 100% nailed on to get playoffs just because of our form necessarily. Or like, sorry, not nailed on at all, but I'm not saying this because of our form necessarily. I'm just looking at the league, and I don't think anyone's taken it by the scruff of the neck. Like the teams that have come down, like you got Watford, they're doing all right still. They're only 3 points ahead of us. I know they haven't lost, but and Sheffield you'd expect to be up there as well. But then Norwich haven't been amazing since they come down. I'm expecting them to pick up. West Brom have had a slow start. They haven't won a game. Was the other one that started? Burnley as well. They haven't looked amazing since they come down. And if you look at like, we spoke about how bad the Blackburn game was. They got thumped last night, or whenever it was, by Reading 3-0. Like,
yeah, that's right.
No one saw that coming. And that's just showing how open this league is. And okay, we're having a bit of a rocky start, but anything can still happen. If we get a little bit of confidence, a little bit of a run going, just 1 or 2 things click, you just don't know what a good run of 10 games could do for your season.
Massive in the championship. If you can get like 3 wins together, you just absolutely fly up the table. And as I said before, I always look at when there's a 3-game week, like how many teams win all 3, and I could literally count probably on one hand how many teams won all 3 games in a week last season. And I haven't looked at it properly this season, but I doubt that many teams, well, they wouldn't have, because they wouldn't have won 3 games.
It was the first 3-game week this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think any team won all 3.
So we had, well, it will be tomorrow, the full week. The weekend coming now will be the full week.
Yeah, this will be the full week, yeah.
Blackburn, let's have a look. Who's won the last 2 games? There is not a team that's won the last 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It just doesn't happen. If you look, there's only Blackburn at the top who've won 3 games and lost 1.
Yeah.
4 games in already,
well,
nobody has a perfect record.
It was like cup game in between.
No, exactly. But what I mean is like they've won 3 games and lost 1. You're 4 games in and nobody has a perfect record. It just doesn't happen.
There's 2,
it just doesn't happen in this league.
4. Oh, Rotherham got a game in hand.
No, it's probably against Coventry, is it? Because nobody can play on their pitch.
Wigan, is it? Oh, I don't know. Wigan got a game in hand as well. Oh, Coventry have missed 2 games. So they're probably both against Coventry.
Yeah, and Nick has been called off this weekend again against Huddersfield.
What's going on up there then?
Oh, the pitch is unplayable, I think. Yeah, they had the Commonwealth games down there. The Rugby Sevens are on their pitch, but apparently it's unplayable. Like they've had to call the game off.
That's a bit of a nightmare, that is.
Yeah, it's quite bad, to be fair.
Yeah, so there's 5 teams in the league that are unbeaten, but nobody's won all of their games.
No.
5 teams out of 24 after 4 games that haven't lost. And then to put it into perspective, we have only lost once, which is, there's a lot of other teams in that boat as well. If we had won against Millwall, which it should have been a win, let's not beat around the bush, we'd be currently on 7 points in the playoffs, which doesn't matter. I know saying in the playoffs is early days, but I'm just saying that's the difference right now of like people have been on the fence, a bit cautious, a bit like concerned, especially after the Blackburn game. But ultimately, that game against Millwall should have been a win, and we should be in the top 6 because of that win instead of Millwall, actually. So yeah, look, I'm still fine with how things are going, especially it was. Obviously, I'll do my 3 words review, and you can carry on with yours in a second. Caution, especially after the Blackburn game. We discussed that last week, obviously, on the podcast. So if you want to see what we had to say, go back and check that out. He did make changes at Blackpool, so maybe it's a good time to, you said about the back 4. It seemed whatever he done, it worked. And yeah, it was only 1-0, but I think a scruffy 1-0 win, like you said, in a way, maybe didn't deserve to be 1-0 and a draw would have been more fair. But we got the win. It's kind of perhaps what we needed just to get over the line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was kind of like a more direct approach, I found as well, which is nice to see. It still obviously is keeping possession and it is passing, but it did seem a little bit more intensity and directness to the plan since the Blackpool game. I don't know if you agree with that.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely in the Millwall game, especially in the first half, so much more direct. They were outstanding in that first half, especially, and you could see like there was examples of like Kyle Norton having the ball in the middle of the park, and when there's nothing on, normally we're just sort of slowly moving the ball around, but if there was nothing on, he was making a surge forward. And I think Harry Darling done it a couple of times as well, and it was much more direct. The tempo was much better. And I think it caught Millwall by surprise a bit because we had such a good start.
But you know what allowed that to happen? Was Joe Allen.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
Because even though he's only just come into the squad, and I'm not knocking Felton because I do like Felton, but the experience of Joe Allen to understand when one of those two potentially is making that surge and run forward, he was covering their position.
Yeah, he made a massive difference being in there.
And that just like kept things ticking so smoothly. And we often get caught out on a transition, but that could be one of the solutions potentially, which, even like I know Downs used to do similar thing, but I think you can't buy like that experience, which you might not be as fit now and as like able to get around the pitch as much all the time for 90 minutes as maybe some of these other ones, the other younger guys or Downs. But the fact that he's come in on his first start and had that like link up sort of, he knows what's going on and he knows where to slot in. Some players would take like weeks to gel into understanding that and to like work with the other players around him. But it was very impressive from him, considering how like he did look quite rusty in his performance when he came on at Oxford, which is understandable after he's had a duration out. But he's definitely shown he's back up to speed, I think, with his performance against Millwall.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. He seemed to get better as the game went on. I think when they took him off, he'd had some like brilliant moments, like just before he got taken off.
He scored, didn't he? Like a will.
Yeah. Oh, if he'd scored that goal, he left foot, it was going in the top corner, and it was a great save from the keeper. But if he'd scored that would just sort of capped off a brilliant performance. But there was a massive tackle that he put in the middle of the park as well. Just like took man and ball. And it was really aggressive as well. And I was just thinking, I cannot remember the last time somebody put a tackle like that in. Especially over the last like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, not 2 seasons, but last season and this season so far. Oh, it was perfect because you know what you get with Millwall. They came with an aggression and an intensity. The ref was slow to get his cards out because there's so many dodgy tackles
Well,
flying in.
I was listening to on the radio on the way home, and the first half, I watched the second half, but the first half, they were saying they were kicking us off the park, and hence Latabodia's injury, which didn't need to happen, really.
I haven't seen that back. I don't think you'll get a replay of it because it was a bad injury.
He's dislocated his shoulder, I think it was confirmed, which is what I thought at the time.
Yeah, but when I watched it, I was at the stadium, and when I saw it live, I just thought, how on earth is that not a foul? I love a bit of like shoulder to shoulder, a bit of aggression, but the ball is nearly off the park, right? The ball is nearly off, going out for a throw in. I can't remember who put the challenge in on Latabodier, but he's just run in from about 10 yards. He sprinted straight at him and just ran straight into him and shouldered him out. Like how he's made no attempt for the ball. Normally the ball is there and you get a bit of shoulder to shoulder, but he's just run straight at him and shouldered him flying because he's obviously running from a distance. Like, how is that not even the card? Well, he didn't even give a foul.
So did they haven't put that in the highlights then, have they? I haven't watched
I tried to watch it back because I wanted to see, because normally you'll have a thought when you're in the stadium and you think, oh my God, like that's ridiculous. And you watch it back and then you're like,
show it back on Swans TV when I was watching it. So I saw a replay of it when I was watching it, and it was bad. Like, I don't know if it's a red card or nothing like that, but it's definitely a foul. And he didn't even blow for a foul.
No, it's not a red, but it was a foul.
Yeah. It was uncalled for, unnecessary. And it's the way he's landed on his shoulder that's done the damage. And you could see instantly that he was in pain, which, it's a shame. Like, I've seen some people say it could be a blessing in disguise. And maybe it could be if we get a right back in now. But, like, we've said it before, like, he's not a right back, which is why we're saying these things. But he does work hard, and he does try his best to give what he can in that role, and he has been getting better. And Martin's been touching on it in his interviews as well, about how much he offers more than not just his play on the pitch, but his professionalism, how well he's training, how up for it he is, and how much he's trying to learn this new role. And he did get himself in a position, to be fair to him. We're saying about the attacking part of the game being where he struggles, but he got himself in a position where he basically missed an open goal, didn't he, against Millwall?
He had a good chance. Yeah,
it was quite funny actually. In Martin's interview, he said, because he was so high on the drugs after the incident, because of the pain, obviously, with his arm, he rang one of the coaches. I can't remember who it was that he said, and he was just there like, "Oh, I should have buried that chance." But yeah, it was a tap in, wasn't it? The keeper made a save from Nsham's shot, and he's coming in and placed it over the bar from inside the penalty box, quite close. Again, shows the chances we were creating and the intensity and directness we were speaking about, though. But he's further up the pitch in a better position, so he's progressing there. But yeah, we'll see if we get some action now with the new signing in that role. Martin reckons they're looking, but we'll see.
Made me wince a bit because I did that on a football pitch as well. Dislocated my shoulder. It was horrendous.
Yeah, and you didn't want to play football after, did you?
Horrendous injury. I can't even tell you how painful it is. But yeah, I felt for him a bit because I got a lot of time for that. But I know we say the only criticism you can have against him is because he's playing out of position.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think he doesn't really make mistakes, though. He doesn't make mistakes in that right wing back position. He just doesn't create. That's the only criticism we have against him. So I haven't really got a problem with him. If they were training him
when we're struggling to score, if we weren't struggling to score, probably wouldn't be talking about it.
But no. But we do need an attacking wing back. We do definitely need one. But I like Latabodier a lot. I think he's a great squad player.
I guess the point is the finish. Like, another player perhaps scores it, and that's where he is lacking for that role, which isn't necessarily his fault because he's a centre back ultimately.
I think I was gutted because I saw Led went on loan to QPR, didn't he?
Yeah, but Christie his trial at Birmingham finished, and he didn't get a contract there, so he's still out there. I'm wondering whether. I think I wrote a little bit of a written interview for one of the Luton Town podcasts, which I'll get the name for now. I think it's podcast anyway, Oak Road Hatters. So I did retweet the link to that. They asked us to do a little bit of a written interview, so I wrote some stuff about the upcoming game. And I think one of the things I was saying was Christie potentially maybe will we revisit it, because obviously they couldn't get the agreement. Christie wanted more money than what we potentially would pay. But he hasn't found a club yet. So I'm wondering whether they could renegotiate in a way that we're in a different position where we really need to get someone in. He's in a different position where perhaps he's running out of time a little bit. He thought perhaps he'd have a club by now. Does he have such a strong leg to stand on with asking for a certain amount of money? And can they like meet in the middle somewhere? Make something happen?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd take him back. No problem.
He's reliable and he offers something going forward, and he did a good job for us last year. So, and then if you've got Latabodia there as someone that can slot in when we need him to, when he's back, it's not so bad, is it? So
yeah, I wonder if we need to get a few. It seems like we probably will need to get a few players out before.
Yeah, well, Martin
bring
said
anything in.
He wants even more than one player to come in, so I'm wondering what's the deal is. But
it's annoying. It's going to go down to the wire, isn't it? It's going to go right down.
At this point,
wire.
just get some loans in if you need to get some loans in, because we need players more than I'd rather not have players because they're on loan. We need players.
Yeah, but again, you've got to ask the question. Like, still not really sure about Sorinola. Like, where does he play?
Left back, right back, left wing, right wing.
Which is exactly what we need, but he doesn't play in there.
But he's not like, he hasn't been good in any of them. I don't think.
No, exactly. And that's a loan. So he's kind of like, I don't want to loan players unless it's, a former MK Dons player.
He missed a penalty as well, didn't he, in the Oxford game?
Yeah.
So, look, he could come good. He hasn't had a good start, I don't think, to his time here. He started the first game. We saw Ryan Manning get dropped. Maybe that was a good thing for Ryan Manning because he's played well since he's come back into the team. And now I can't see it going back to like the other way around, where Sorinola starts ahead of Manning. Sorinola might start with him, especially now Latabodia is injured. But I just haven't seen anything from him. And the 2 goals against Millwall, they came down his side because obviously he got switched to the left when they did a couple of subs and Manning got taken off because he was on a yellow card. Sorinola went from the right to the left and Norton went to the right.
Yep.
And both the goals came from crosses down Sorinola's side.
Yeah.
So whether, that's something to be concerned about. He didn't get there to block the cross. Ultimately, I think you could say what you want about the defending after the cross, but we should be making more effort to stop the cross in the first place.
Yeah, I think the second one was like a corner, wasn't it? So everyone's out of position.
Yeah,
it goes back out,
yeah,
and then comes corner, back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first they do both come from that side.
Yeah, I need to maybe check who's defending the second ball, but it was on his side. So after a corner, how long does it take you to reset? Should he be out there?
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah.
Well, actually, I got the replay up now, and he closes. So the ball goes back out, and he's closing the guy it goes out to, who passes it to the guy that essentially took the corner, who's unmarked. So Sorinola's trying to backtrack, but he's never getting there at that point. So maybe it's harsh to blame him because maybe 2 of them needed a rush to the 2 players. So he's, I guess, done a good thing in rushing to the ball, but nobody's gone left to mark the guy who's just taking the corner, who's in acres of space by the time the ball comes to him. So maybe the second one, you could argue, isn't on him.
Yeah. But
yeah,
we should never have been in that position.
No,
I just like that was my third word, was frustration. I still can't work out how we didn't win that game. I don't think you'll ever see many things like that in football for ages. 2 own goals in 93rd and 95th minute.
Yeah, we should never have been in that situation, but I think we also should highlight there was a massive element of luck there. Like, I'm watching the goals back again now. So like the first one, Cabango's going for the block and he kind of flicks it onto Darlin and it just hits him and goes in. Like, yeah, you need to just get it out. Like, that is on Cabango there. Just, he's not done a good contact on the ball. And the difference is he puts that out for a corner and it's still 2-0. Could be fine, literally. Like, the cross isn't really that dangerous. Like the Cabango and Darlin are in front of the Middlesbrough player, both of them. So if Cabango doesn't stretch, I think Darlin's clearing it anyway.
I know. Yeah.
It's I mean,
it's just one of them.
We said before the podcast to me the second one was an outstanding finish.
Yeah, it would. Great finish. Does he need? I don't know if he needs to do it.
Does he need?
I don't know if he needs to get his head on it. I'm not sure because he's kind of falling, and the players. I don't know. I don't know. You can't really tell in that.
And you have to think that if he just runs alongside him, then it's going to hit him regardless.
He's kind of
not the player.
He has sort of lost him though, hasn't he? Because he's falling over. He has kind of lost him a little bit, so he's leaning into him just to try and do something. So he ends up sort of falling over, doesn't he? And then puts his head on it. So he's kind of lost him coming around the back post, and he's like playing catch up. But I don't know if he needs to. I don't know. I think it's just a split second decision where, because he gets a good head on that. So could he not head it like out for a corner or behind him? Because he gets a good. I don't know. You can't say you can we'll never be in that position.
I'm trying to work out why he even falls over. Really, I don't really get why he falls over. The player's coming in from behind. It's not even like he's got his hands over the back of him.
Yeah, it was a bit of a soft one, but I think it was just panic at that stage. We should never have been in that state, but it was just pure panic.
That's probably that cross is probably a lot more dangerous than the first goal. That was a good cross, to be fair. But at 2-1, they were always going to throw the kitchen sink. But we're also missing another frustrating part. You complimented Obafemi against Blackpool on the way that he laid Cham off to get the winning goal.
Yeah.
But he had a golden opportunity to get 3-1 at 2-1, where quite similar circumstances, actually, where we were defending, Millwall pushing, managed to break away, and Obafemi, from inside our own half, the ball's gone over the top, and he's through. Now, we have to credit the Millwall's players defending. I don't know who it was, but what a tackle.
Oh, it was a great tackle, yeah. Great tackle. But he does give him every opportunity to get there. He takes so much time to get that ball away. But even if he takes that shot there, and we get a corner, and the keeper saves it, and we get a corner, that probably eats up enough.
Some people thought he was trying to square it to Perot, but I think the guy he gets tackled.
No, he gets tackled.
He goes to hit the ball. I think what he does wrong, because he starts off on the say you're on the centre circle, where he sort of picks the ball up. Is in on the right hand side of the centre circle. He's not in the middle of the pitch. He's in the right centre. So he's just outside the centre circle on the right. So if he kept running in a straight line, which he doesn't do, I think he gets a shot away. But he comes inside and goes kind of towards the penalty spot. Because he's not running in that straight line, he's allowing the defender who is running in the straight line to cover the opportunity to get back then. So I think if he goes, and maybe the shot's a bit harder from the angle if he keeps going straight, but having a shot's better than not having a shot. So
I think I won't take anything away from the tackle because it was absolutely brilliant, but he does give him every opportunity to get there, and that should have been game over.
It should have been, and I'm wondering if he straightens up, if it does allow the opportunity for Perot to be brought in on the left, who's trying to get up in support. If he does run the line, can he go a bit deeper and get Perot, who can maybe then come inwards and run back across the covering defenders for a layoff? Rather, I don't know, ifs and buts, isn't it? But
that one should have buried it. But if we go back a bit, that we had so many chances to finish the game off
in the first.
There was so many chances. We should have been out of sight. We should never have been in that position where we were defending for our lives. I mean, they played so well. So I will credit them here, because I don't think I've done that yet. But I will credit them for 75 minutes at least. They just deserved to win the game. They could have been 4 or 5-0 up, and they would have been deserved because they played so well. Especially that little 15-minute spell from Joe Allen where he was just everywhere, where he had that shot that was going in the top corner. And then he sort of had a run and played it to Obafemi, which I think was the best chance. He plays it to Obafemi, who leaves it run to Cham, and Cham hits it straight at the keeper. He hits it straight at him. I think if he gets the other side of the keeper, because he opens his body up to sort of shape to it that way, but he just hits it straight at the keeper. That was a massive chance. Perot had a bit of a half chance. It just went wide. It was just, I still don't know how we didn't win the game, because I will credit them. They were brilliant for that. That first 75 minutes especially.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, well, I'll do my 3-word review anyway. Maybe we can touch on some more of the points that we haven't touched on yet. And I'm trying to work out how I can fit what I want to say into 3 words. But essentially, I'm going for progress, comma, need more. So we have made progress, I think, since Blackburn game.
Yeah.
We have made progress, and that was clear to see in Millwall. But it was also clear to see in Millwall, in some areas, we still need more. And maybe that's the mentality in closing out the game, or whatever you want to do, call it. Same as Oxford, and it's been a couple of times last season that this was brought up.
Yeah.
But I don't, unlike the Oxford game, where I fully put that on Martin and his substitutes, I don't put this one on Martin and his substitutes at all. I've seen some people saying the substitutes did cause the issues in this game, but I can't blame Alan coming off, because he was never going to play 90 minutes. It was his first game back, first start. I can't blame, well, Latterbury got injured for a start. Manning, he got a stupid yellow card, and he was getting a bit involved in tackles, and you know what he's like. It's good to see.
I know. I like Ala.
I do like it as well, but you know what he's been like.
I know you can cause a problem by getting a red, because he can do that. But I do like that he's got that bit of edge about him, because when you play someone like Millwall, he's got that edge, and you need it. Yeah. You need it against those teams. But
no, I agree with you.
I totally agree with you, because he could have got sent off. Yeah.
When you're 2-0 up and he's on that yellow card for that sort of challenge, you can't do it again, because you're 2-0 up. So like, why don't risk and get a red card? Yeah, ultimately you can say, well, we ended up drawing, so we shouldn't have done it. Yeah, whatever. But like, you don't know that. Martin doesn't know that. If Martin can't trust Cabango to come on and see the game out, then Cabango's not good enough. So it wasn't even like a youth sub. He was bringing on Ben Cabango for Ryan Manning. So like, yeah, I know they shifted it around and put Norton on the right and Soranola on the left.
I think that does play a factor. I think that does play a factor, because I will sort of defend him a little bit, because with Latterbury's injury and Manning's yellow card, he was forced into making changes, and we were a bit of a mismatch from what we started with. Like, you've got Kyle Norton was on like the right, but I will say it seemed like he picked up a bit of a knock, and I thought, I hope he's not injured.
He was down for a while.
Yeah. And he seemed like
he went to make a tackle and he fell awkwardly or something.
Yeah, so I think he was carrying a bit of a knock at that stage, and Soranola's playing on like left wing back, and we spoke about him not certain crosses, and then Cabango's come in, and Darling's had to go into the middle, and he was kind of like adjusting to the new, like a new back five essentially, while they're throwing everything at you.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, Oxford, I fully put the accountability on the manager, because he brought the 4 changes on that were pre-scripted that he'd spoke about, and it was like, no, you need to adjust to the game ahead of you, and that wasn't right for the time in that game. Whereas in this instance, I kind of don't. He didn't do them all at the same time, and they made sense. They did make sense, and I feel like they weren't youngsters for a start that came on, and I feel like they are first-team players. You've got to trust Cabango to come in, and I'm not saying it's Cabango's fault or anything. I'm just saying, like, Ryan Manning for Ben Cabango on paper, like, it's fine. In that situation, it should have been fine. I think one people were kicking off about was Felton coming on and didn't have the best game. I don't really know exactly. He wasn't as good as what Joe Allen performed at, but he wasn't awful as well. He was just comparing him to the performance Joe Allen's put in. Like, and the game had changed to that point as well. It was like Millwall were coming a little bit more into it, and it was always going to be expected in the second half. But he didn't ultimately do massive amounts wrong, I don't think. But yeah, it just seems like forever he's going to be the one at the moment. There's always one, and it seems to be him. And I think Congreve had a bit of stick as well.
Did he? I didn't see much stick for Congreve.
Cham, he doesn't often make 90 minutes, and he had a really good game as well.
He did play well.
But who do you want to bring on in any game in the future? If someone gets injured or like I don't know, you want to change the team around. We haven't got that many players, so when you're 2-0 up in the game, he needs to be bringing on the likes of Congreve and Ollie Cooper to like allow them to learn and get experience and play in the Championship, because we haven't got anyone else. Patterson's injured. Who comes on?
Yeah, exactly.
Liam Cullen could have come on, I guess, but kind of know more about Liam Cullen than we know about Cameron Congreve at the moment.
Yeah.
So he didn't, maybe have the best of game, and he gave some balls away, but he was trying to create things when he was going forward. It just didn't come off. And that's part of the journey of a youth player coming into the first team, is adapting to the speed and and what's going on.
But like you said, the game had changed at that point. Like, you're not really committing bodies forward, so there's limited options when he gets the ball going forward. Everyone's dropped deeper.
I nearly think it's safe to bring him on. Like, it didn't seem like it was, and it was quite late as well. Congreve came on. I think it was like 80th minute or something.
Yeah.
Congreve 76th minute. Ultimately, we didn't concede till the 93rd, so it's not the subs. I don't think. Like, you can't say the managers mucked it up with the subs, which is what some people were criticising. No,
I will. The only thing I will say, and I do sort of sympathise with him with the subs, because that's what it was. It's not that, and 9 times out of 10, we don't draw that game. We win it. We played well. We come away and we say, right, we played so well today. It's so much better, and we got to win.
Yeah.
However, and why I'm still on the fence a little bit with Russell Martin, and again, I'm not saying sack him, because you've got to kind of defend that now, because everyone thinks you want him sacked if you criticise him. It's okay to criticise him. Yeah. By the way, it's like okay to criticise him, because people seem to be reluctant to, say he does anything wrong at the moment. It's always the players, or it's Jay Fulton mainly that's the cause of all problems. But
did you see that thread?
No, I didn't see it.
Sorry.
No, I didn't see it. So I got that in there. Obviously, I don't want him sacked. I got to say that every time. I felt sorry for him on Tuesday, because we should have won the game. But I will say, we are always capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And the way he plays, we're always capable of that happening. Like 9 times out of 10, we win the game. Great. But there's always that chance. And I think I joked to my dad, sits next to me, when we went 2-0 up, and I was like, we're capable of 2-0, joking. And obviously it did happen. I was trying to work it out. I just think everyone just says game management, but I think it's the way we play. So we were brilliant. We were so intense. We were so direct for 70 minutes. It was unplayable. It was brilliant. But when teams then change it, so Millwall brought on like 3 subs at one point, and then they chucked a few more on, and they've chucked bodies forward. We can't play that football then, and it seems like we can't do anything. We can't do anything to stop the way that they play then. Like, when you play possession football, which he likes to do, when you're 2-0 up, we should be keeping the ball. We should be like keeping the ball in their half, like we used to under some managers where we played possession football. You see us like holding the ball in the opposition half, and in the corner. You never see us do that. You never see us have like possession. We just sit back, and it's almost just like a hope. It's just like, oh, we've done our bit now. We're 2-0 up. Let's just pray to God that they don't score 2 goals. Do you know what I mean? And then it just seemed like it was just utter panic in the injury time. For that 5 minutes injury time, it just seemed like it was just more hope than expecting to hold on. It was just like, let's just sit here and pray to God that we hold on. So that's my only criticism with him in that game. And again, like 9 times out of 10, we do win the game and they don't score the goals. 2 own goals, to be fair. But 2 own goals to me just says panic. You've got like Cabango putting his foot out and Wood doing that, because it's just sheer panic at the back. So I will say that's my only criticism of him in that game.
And I think you are right. And you know what? He did acknowledge that in his press conference afterwards. He did say, well, I am the manager and I am accountable for like maybe the mentality if it's not good enough to like get over and see games out and game management and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact words he used, but he did actually touch on that point. So at least I guess he's aware of it. I mean, he was fuming when he after the game, and
I seen him throw his bottle across the pitch when they scored the second goal. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like
we all felt the same
as the manager, like I don't know what you want me to do at this point. Like,
Yeah,
I have no control over that. And he doesn't, to be fair. But like what you're saying is right. Like, how does he make them more like rigid and like calm and controlled? Maybe like what Steve Cooper would have had them doing. Because he probably would have just been like, all of you just get in the box. And then everyone would have been kicking off saying, we inviting the pressure on. And I think 9 times out of 10, yeah, we invite the pressure on, but we see the game out. And then that 1 time out of 10, when they come and score 2 games, it's like, well, you invited the pressure on and you sat back. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing could happen in that style. But I think that's kind of what Steve Cooper would have done, because we were shouting about it last year, and we go 1-0 up and then start sitting back. That's what we were. Yeah. That's what everyone was kicking off about when he was here. But they saw it out so many times.
Yeah.
So what's the?
But then you kind of had moments then where, Ayew was up the other end of the pitch holding the ball up, and Connor Roberts was joining, and they were just keeping that ball. Yeah. Just trying to like sort of dilute the pressure. But we just don't seem to do any of that.
Yeah, while you're talking about keeping that ball, dilute pressure, and before we go into the press conference controversy, which we'll do in a minute, Joel Perreault, people I've seen talking about him, so that like. I say people have seen talking. It's obviously good to look at the socials to see what the mood is around the club and what the fans are saying and the general atmosphere. A lot of people at the moment are looking at Perreault and being like, has his head been turned? Are his performances dropped? So what do you make of that, really? Because obviously transfer window's still got 2 weeks, I think.
He has been very, very quiet, I think, over the first couple of games. Like one thing that sticks out was he had that run against Rotherham and squared it to Obafemi for that chance, and he's had a couple of openings where he shot wide and stuff. But apart from that, we just can't get him into the game. Whether he's like a known quantity now, so teams know what to do against him. But he seems to be. I'm not even sure where he's playing. He sort of seems to be playing like a left, like on the left side sort of thing, and then. Yeah, and then but then you see him like dropping really deep to come get the ball, and he's not really where he should be.
So against Blackpool, he was kind of in a 2 up top because of the.
Yeah.
Let me check this on. If I could find it. So we got the Blackpool game. This is kind of the formation. The average formation. This is what they put down. So I guess this is what you were saying with the wing backs tucking in weirdly. But yeah, he was kind of 2 up top with Obafemi. But then if you look at Millwall, he went back to playing like on the right forward position or the left forward position, whatever one it was, right, with Ncham, because Ncham came in to the team, didn't he, and started. Because Ncham was not starting against Blackpool. Which he played there, I think, against Rotherham and... Who's the other game? Blackburn, I think. He played there against Blackburn as well. Yeah. Obviously, since Obafemi's come into the team, he tends to prefer Obafemi on the line to make the runs, and Perreault's a bit deeper.
Yeah, I see that.
We compared him to Michu a little bit, but I guess he's perhaps got more of a free role, but it could come back to the... If you could bike outside or something. Perhaps comes back to Latbodia in a way that he's not offering the threat the right-hand side needs to allow Perreault to get into the gaps as much as what he would like to, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he's definitely been quiet. He's definitely been quiet by his standards and what we've seen. But at the end of not the end of the season, but like that sort of around the Cardiff game and Reading away where we were good for a bit. And all the good things that we saw going forward, he seemed to be like central, and he was either holding the ball up and playing Obafemi through, or vice versa. They seem to have that like connection. Yeah. But he always seems like so far away from Obafemi. Now he's coming deep to get the ball, and sometimes I think like maybe they're a bit rusty, because I think there was a few times where he's kind of like open. It's on his left foot. If Obafemi puts it on his left foot, he's going to hit the target, but it's always like a little bit short or it's a little bit too far, gives the defender a chance to get back. So whether it's still a bit of rustiness, but they seem to have like a connection last year.
Yeah, they did, but it could also be the loss of like Wolf and Christie what the
definitely.
whole attack is offering, and they haven't adjusted to what they're getting now. Because Obafemi, he's only scored the one, and he was a tap-in, so it's not like he's doing anything extra different. He had the chance he missed against Rotherham, but Perot created that. So I look at it from the point of view that we're 4 games in, they're getting up to speed still. I'm not necessarily sure he's playing rubbish because his head's been turned, or whether he's just like not scored in 4 games.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's more that he's just not scored in 4 games, and he had
I
4
think
games
he's still,
in a row last season where he didn't score.
He's still got it because he saw that really good goal against Plymouth in pre-season, didn't he? But I just think that we can't seem to get him into the game.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like
fair,
to me.
But I think we've had issues going forward, haven't we? So
yeah,
I guess
for whatever reason, we can't get him performing like he did last year. But who knows?
Yeah,
I still think he's going to go though.
Well, I don't know. Maybe this period of like not hitting the ground running, and if he is looking a bit off boil,
I think there's
maybe it would be like, oh, do you know what? Actually, we'll see if he can match them standards before we fork out big money.
I'd love for him not to go, but I just think there's going to be so much action now in the last few weeks of the window. I saw Maupay went from Brighton to Forest, so whether there's a gap that needs filling in Brighton.
Have they not signed someone?
Wouldn't surprise me.
They already said that they're not interested in him.
Yeah, maybe. But I could see someone. I said it a few weeks back. I said it in the summer. I could just see someone coming in with a bid on deadline day out of desperation. I mean, you only need a striker to get injured now.
Yeah.
In some team somewhere, Watford or Burnley, or like I don't know, like a lower Premiership team.
Yeah,
and they'll be coming in for him.
Brighton have bought an 18-year-old striker for 10.5 million. They also brought in someone called Dennis Undav. I haven't heard of him before. 25-year-old German striker from Belgium Pro League on loan. Oh no, hang on. This is end of loan, so whether that's him coming, I think he might have returned to them from loan. I think that's it though. But obviously, if Maupay's gone out, they've paid 10.5 million for a striker, and they brought in a winger as well. So
that's fair enough.
There's 2 forward players. So whether they need another one, maybe they will.
I know. I was just trying to think of an example, but I just saw that,
wasn't he?
Yeah, every time I see that now everywhere, like I saw Maupay going to Forest, I was like, right, they're coming in for Pro, or someone will get injured. I saw a Watford getting rid of Sarr. He goes somewhere. I can't remember. Oh, Forest maybe. Oh, Dennis is going to Forest from Watford. Forest will sign everyone.
I mean, they splashed in the cash, and they
44 million, wasn't it, for Morgan Gibbs-White?
Yeah.
That's
nuts.
I can't believe that fee. That's just crazy. And then we were quietly hoping we might sign him at one point.
Well, on loan, yeah, I know. Well, it's 40 million. Like, I don't get it, because Wolves, he's never really got into the Wolves team and nailed down a spot at Wolves, and then it's selling him for that price. Well, if he's that good to command that fee, or if you think he's going to be that good in the future to command that fee, why is he just not doing anything at Wolves?
I don't know. He is English, isn't he?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if he's not going to like.
No, I agree with you. I think it's outrageous.
How much do they pay for Lingard? Oh, they're paying Lingard a lot of money, aren't they?
Yeah, they had it. Was he free?
I think he was free.
His wages must be
extortionate wages.
Yeah.
But I've just looked at Perot. There's nothing out there at the moment in the last couple of weeks about him going anywhere. So, or anyone even sniffing at him. Like, it's quiet. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. I'm getting
get excited.
More confident the more we get to the end. But I understand the reservations.
Yeah.
But we do need some more players, and if he goes, we're going to need another one. So, like, it depends how desperate they are. Maybe they'll start offering them out if they can't afford a right back now. Who knows?
Maybe.
I think just get someone in on loan at this point, but we'll see. We'll have to wait. Maybe something we can talk about next week if there's a little bit more information out.
It'll start coming out now soon.
But let's talk about the other big thing that happened. obviously in his press conference, Russell Martin went in a bit on a senior player, unnamed, who I couldn't pinpoint when it happened, because obviously the second goal came from corner, so I'm guessing it was before the corner, but there was a throw in.
Yeah.
It goes out near the dugout, and the player punches the ball back to the Millwall player, who takes a quick throw in. So I'm guessing we weren't back in shape fully.
I saw it in the stadium. I saw it happen. I didn't see the player punching him, but I saw Martin's reaction. So I thought it was quite funny.
So I'm guessing it is that, though. Is it like we weren't back in shape, which is why he was kicking off so much, and that's why they got a corner. And he's saying like it wouldn't have happened if he didn't give it back to them and wasted a bit of time. By all accounts, it was Jamie Patterson.
Yeah, I think it was.
Not involved in the squad, but he's injured apparently. But sorry, just the door was opening. Not involved in the squad, injured, but on the bench.
Yep, I think it was Patterson. From what I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people said it was Patterson, but I saw it happen.
A big dressing down.
It was funny because like the ball goes back on the pitch, and Martin he's like standing on the side of the pitch. He turns sharply to the bench, and he's like laughing, but like a sarcastic laugh.
Like,
he's kind of like, "What are you doing?" But I gotta be honest, I'm the other way around on this. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous to call him out in a press conference. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. I mean, be a bit more streetwise. Like, don't give him the ball back. But at the end of the day, if it's 3 yards forward or 3 yards backwards, the throw in, then they get the ball straight away anyway. I don't think you could specifically play that. Yeah, but then he was sort of saying like, oh, if we hold that ball for a minute, then they don't concede the goal. And I was like, nah, you got way more issues than someone giving the ball back. Like, they throw the ball in, they get it forward, they get a corner, then we clear the corner, and then it comes back. It's just like, you can't. And to call it out in a press conference, I mean, he could have said privately, which would have been fair, oh, why did you do that? That's stupid. Like, come on, let's be a bit more clever. I think that's all he needed, to call him out in the press conference. Nah, ridiculous.
I agree. I don't think it was the best way to deal with it, but I do also think he's got a point. Like, I agree with what he was saying entirely. I just don't think he should have said it publicly. And I'm not saying that's the reason we lost. I just think the point he's raising ultimately is a good point to raise internally. But like, not necessarily. I think what he's trying to get at, because he did talk about mentality a bit, is that's the mentality, then that's wrong, and that's part of the reason why, like, maybe we can't see games out, because you're doing stupid things like this, like giving them the ball back for a throw-in.
Yeah.
Not like maybe, and you could expand it to like if you're on the pitch, you go into the corner and you're just staying there, or you're like getting fouled and you're taking a bit longer to get up and that sort of thing. Just the overall aspect of it, like, if you're so casually like, oh, here we go, here's the ball. You're saying, well, what are you doing? Like, I kind of get it. I feel like, but deal with it internally, like you said. I don't think it's necessarily the reason we lost. But then maybe if he doesn't give it back straight away and we get in a better position, the corner never happens. So,
I just don't think you can fixate on that.
No, you can't. But like, if that's the point he's trying to make, it is a good point to raise and to correct, but it's not ultimately the point of why we lost.
No, exactly.
It's something to address, and it could have had an impact, but then, and there's a lot of could-haves, and you could talk about could-haves all day. Like Obafemi could have scored a goal. There are 2 goals balls at the crossbar could have gone in the net, and whatever. There's a lot of could-haves. Ultimately, it's not why we lost, but it's something that I think in future shouldn't happen. But yeah, speaking of the crossbar, Andy Fisher, I don't know what he's doing for that second one. Why is he? He's never getting to that ball.
It's panic though. This is saying about mentality. It's just panic. We're 2-0 up, and when teams come at us, it just seems like it's panic, because it was ridiculous. I don't know what he's thinking. But to me, it just seems like Fisher...
He didn't get nowhere near it. He did not get nowhere near it. And the guy's never shooting if he doesn't come up with his goal. And that's the only reason he hits the crossbar. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, they hit the crossbar twice. It's like, yeah, they did. And it could have been a goal easily. But if it did, it would have been entirely on the keeper on this occasion. And he's done well this year. But that would have been entirely on him, because it wasn't an opportunity at that point.
I know. It's just... To me, it just comes down to that again, though. Just players making decisions in those moments, and it's just panic. They're just like him and the back five, just in that last sort of 5-10 minutes, just panic, making mistakes. Because that I agree with you, that was crazy. I don't know what he's trying to do there.
Yeah. And it dipped quite a lot, didn't it, at the end?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going in at all, and then it
miles
just
over, and then it just smashes across the bar. I was like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I was the same.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ropey moment. If that had gone in, I think he would have been absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like everyone is.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe a little bit more. Obviously, don't give him grief and stuff, but like he should have criticism for that decision. Hopefully, he learns from it. I mean, he's still a young keeper, and they're going to do stuff. Freddie Woodman made mistakes, and people called him out enough for it, but it is what it is in this league. You develop in players, that's how it goes. But it's a crazy decision. I think you never get in there. Anything else then?
No, nothing from me. It's ready for the game tomorrow now. Look forward. Back down the lib.
How do you see that game
Swansea.com.
Luton Town?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think, again, we're at that stage still. When I keep saying about me being on the fence, we could win that game tomorrow. We could go 3-0 up and lose 4-3. We could lose 4-0.
Yeah.
Luton I have no idea at the moment. They haven't won a game yet, have they?
No, and they've lost the last two. And obviously, I was speaking to one of their fan channels, and he's concerned after the last game, which was 2-0 loss to Bristol. He said, they really can't score. No, and they've signed a lot of players as well.
Yeah, we'll see. This is just music for us. It's just like they haven't won a game, they can't score.
Yeah, it's Nathan Jones though, and he loves beating the Swans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a couple of factors in there. Yeah, he won revenge though for his celebration last year. Is it last season?
But hopefully that's like maybe they play the video in the locker rooms this week and give him a bit of motivation. But it should be interesting. I personally think we have to go and win this game to kind of put right what happened against Millwall. Personally, I think. I think if they win this game, it's kind of like, look, okay, the Millwall end wasn't great, but it was a one-off and a bit lucky for Millwall's part, and it's not going to happen again. We put it right now, comfortable win against Millwall, we're going in the right direction. If it's another loss, then you start double questioning, okay, the Millwall game shouldn't have happened. Now we've lost Luton at home, when we're going to get a first home win.
I think it is a big game at the moment. All these games are big because the results speak volumes, don't they? I know we played so well, but we kind of just need a good win now, just to get a season going again. But if they play if they can replicate what they did against Millwall and play like that on Saturday, they'll win the game. I'm confident of that. If they play like they did again, they'll win the game. So we have to wait and see. But I don't know if it's just me. I don't know what you think, but I kind of feel like we're on the edge or something. Like either we do a really big win and it's going to kickstart the season, or we're going to fall off a cliff and just keep not getting results. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like we're on. It's just that edginess about the fans as well. I don't really know where we are. They played well. They did play well, but then they drew the game, and they got a win against Blackpool where probably could have got a draw, and it was not very good against Blackburn. So I don't really know where we are, and it kind of feels like, if we lose, it's like, I can feel the tension. But then if we win, if we have a good win, it would be like a bit of relief, and we'd be like, let's, the season starting. So I don't know. I'm just a bit edgy at the moment.
Definitely didn't see as many of the Russell Martin out people after the Millwall game, even though what happened, which I guess that's a good sign because they were absolutely everywhere after Blackburn and Oxford, absolutely everywhere. Like, I've never seen so much, to be honest. But there's a lot of people coming out defending him after Millwall because of the nature of what happened. I think people respected that, like what you said, 9 times out of 10, they just clear those balls and there's no questions asked. And I think even if we end that in 2-0, I don't even think anyone questions like the fact that Millwall had a little bit of a spell where they come back into it, because naturally they would. I think the conversation is we controlled it quite well, limited their opportunities. Because I haven't mentioned it, but they obviously drew 2-2 with us and had one shot on target.
I mean, It was a crazy game. It just came at the wrong time. I mean, that could happen any time during the season, couldn't it? Like something meant like that just came at the time where we needed a win, and they played so well and deserved to win. It was just like when are we going to get like a rub at the green? You just couldn't believe that happened. And I did feel sorry for him. I did feel sorry for him because he desperately wanted that win.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if they get, I have criticised him this season because I can only speak on what I've seen. So I have criticised him, and I did give him credit for the Millwall performance. They were brilliant. If they can play like that again, get a 3-0 win on Saturday, we'll be off and running, I think.
Yeah, and we're saying it's a must-win or big game for us, but it's even bigger for Luton, really. Bear in mind, they finished the playoffs last year, 6th place. Perhaps unexpected if you're a Millwall Luton fan. Sorry, I'm saying Millwall. Luton, I mean. They finished 6th last season, had a playoff run, didn't obviously go well for them. But I think most people say unexpected. Apparently, what's his name? I literally just said his name.
Nathan Jones.
Manager. Yeah, Nathan Jones. Apparently, he was saying the target was always playoffs last year for them. So fair play.
They could do a Barnsley, couldn't they, from the year before?
But now,
so got
what's
the
the
playoffs
target now? You've got to go up now, have you? Like, if you're that, I don't know, like maybe you've made it hard for yourself a little bit. They've spent money, which is something they don't normally do. Usually rely on free players and loans, and they actually put a couple of million in some players. So they've signed Coley Woodrow from Barnsley. So because you were saying the main area they needed to sort of improve was their attack, scoring goals consistently, and they brought a bunch of these new players in who were meant to be quite creative. Luke Freeman as well. Is another one they've signed, and they just think it's not working so far. And apparently he's tried changing the system, and they're not sure about that, and a lot of questions there. So I think another loss for them is quite damaging.
Yeah.
So they're also perhaps under a bit of pressure here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. Any other news or stuff you want to discuss? Do you think you make any changes for the team?
Yeah,
has been making changes, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think obviously Sorinola will come in wing back maybe instead of Latipodi.
Unless he goes to a 4 again and Pato's back.
Yeah, I can't see. I think Pato might be on the bench if he's fit after he punched the ball.
Pato's in trouble, and he's not coming on.
He's in the bad books. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see him go to a back 4. I'd like to see it, but I just don't think he will. Caught us by surprise against Blackpool, and I expected him to do it again, but then he reverted back.
But to be fair, you said about the centre backs wandering forward, and maybe that's partly why he likes the 5 so much, because they allow.
Yeah, it's cover. Yeah. So we'll see. I'd like to see a back 4, mind. I'd like to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think from Tuesday night, as long as Joe Allen is fit, because there's 2 games in a week. I don't know what stage of his recovery he's in, but he looked great for Tuesday night.
No travelling, so maybe.
I think he might start again. And come off again, I think. He'll come off again. So the only change I can really see is obviously Latipodi is injured, so maybe Sorinola starts there.
I think maybe Wood drops out for Cabango as well.
Maybe.
Cabango started at Blackpool, didn't he, after his return from injury? I'd sat this one out, came on off the bench, but I think, not that Wood had a bad game, but I think Cabango's ahead of him in the pecking order.
Yeah.
I think it's Starlin, Norton, Cabango. It's the back 3 when it's fully fit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Ryan Manning's got to stay, hasn't he? He had a good game. Fair enough to him. As much as I said he's a liability sometimes, he did have a good game.
He did play very well.
It's probably the best that I've seen him play from start.
Yeah. I slated him as well and asked him for better performances. He was good. He was good on Tuesday. Everyone played well on Tuesday.
Yeah. I would like to see Ollie Cooper get a run out of the bench, but
yeah, maybe if we're 4-0 up.
Maybe. What we concede 4 then, this is fault probably.
Yeah. I gotta tell you what though, if we throw away a lead again, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you were saying on the verge of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Questions go either way depending on what we do, and that's one of the things that could be bad. obviously we started this new thing on Twitter and social medias about Memory Monday. Just to share this one because it seemed to get a lot of interest. So we got big Willie Gray.
Class.
Got any good memories of him?
Yeah, we spoke about it on Twitter, didn't we, when he got arrested? I remember that.
Isn't there pictures? If you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast, jump on Twitter, have a look at our post, Willie Gray, Memory Monday. So it would have been posted Monday. Lovely comment picture in the comments of when he got arrested, and he's giving it looks like he's giving a nipple cripple to the policeman.
Yeah, we just got promoted against Adrian Forbes scored against Bury, didn't he? We went up from League Two, and he got arrested. I always remember because I think it was Ian Holloway, and I can't remember if he was at QPR at the time. And I think he's quite close to Kenny Jackett, who was our manager at the time.
Yeah.
And he was doing an interview on Sky. I think they were in the Championship, and I think they might have got into the playoffs or something. I can't remember. Anyway, he said, in his interview, he was like, "Oh, what are you going to do now? What are you going to?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to call Kenny Jackett because his goalkeeper's been arrested." And that was funny. I remember that.
That's quite funny.
Yeah, it was good.
So you played for Millwall as well, which is why we posted about him this week. But we'll see what we got in store for next week on Monday. We usually post 3 players, so get involved in that. Let us know your memories for the ones that we end up posting. Been having some interesting conversations so far, so it's always good to see what people are saying and what they remember. I mean, finding some good photos like we had there. Also, let us know in the comments as well if you've got any stories about Willie Gray. And the other 2 we posted were Jason Price and Bissoni, was it? Federico Bissoni.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always remember Bissoni's. That was the best ever, was his cross against Cardiff, Darren Pratley's goal. That's his best memory of Bissoni.
I can't believe he played in the Premier League. I know it was only 1 game. Although we had left backs of him, Alan Tate, I guess Neil Taylor as well.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. And then Ben Davies emerged the next season. So it'd probably be a good time for him to come through because quality wasn't all there, was it? But
no.
Neil Taylor was all right, I guess. He went off the boil after his leg break, didn't he?
That was a shame.
In the Prem?
No, that was the year when
Ben Davies.
Laudrup took over. So Laudrup took over, and then we had
so that's how Ben Davies got his opportunity, really.
Yeah, so we had a good start, and Neil Taylor was starting, and then he got injured against Sunderland at home, I think. He got his leg caught under him, and then Ben Davies came on, and then never looked back. So you think how lucky you are to get an opportunity. It's just the stars aligned for Ben Davies, and he had a class season, didn't he? And we won the League Cup and everything. He had a brilliant season.
Yeah, mad.
I say Ben Davies probably the only one that's gone on and done good things.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think he's just been brilliant because he's been through all the Spurs managers. Conte plays him now; he loves him. Mourinho always played him. I think they all see that he's quality. And then when you watch him now, he's brilliant.
He's consistent and works hard, isn't it? I don't think he's necessarily the best footballer out of anyone that's played Spurs.
Great defender, just a great defender.
Reguilon, and he's the other left back they got at the moment. It's probably a better player going forward and offers a little bit more there. But is he as consistent at just being solid as Ben Davies?
Yeah, they kind of play him. I think they kind of sort of play him in now because I think he doesn't really play. Yeah, like a left centre back, like we were doing man in. Yeah, I think that's where they play him now, and I think he's just solid.
I remember Laudrup actually said back in that season that one day you could see him playing centre back.
Yeah, he was right.
What's Laudrup doing these days anyway? When did he come back?
I don't know. That's mad. He never did anything else, did he?
Can you imagine we had him back when he went to
Qatar or something,
Saudi or something, Qatar or somewhere out there.
We had no one picked him up because something happened there. Something dodgy happened there when he left because he was he done so well with that team to win the League Cup. That was ridiculous.
There were tweets going around at one point from his agent, didn't it? That agent.
I don't know. Something happened.
Some with Hugh Jenkins, and it was all a bit dodgy because I don't know. It is and then I think that Monk come in and it was all a bit weird, and you had Chico with a brick.
He did that press conference, didn't he, Laudrup, after he left as well. He did that press conference in London after he'd left the Swans. I think it was a couple of weeks later. He did a press conference and kind of slated the chairman Because I remember he kept saying, Chairman Jenkins kept saying all the time. So I think there was...
like they were promised a certain amount of support and backing, and they weren't getting in that second season, and as the results start turning, and I think maybe they were questioning the backing, and that's perhaps where it all stemmed from. But I think Laudrup was just like, well, I'm not doing it then, because he didn't need to do it, I think. And it was...
I don't know. I just think something dodgy went on. I heard rumours that we lost the game on the weekend, and he went to Paris or something. He just took a holiday and gave players days off.
I think I heard rumours as well that his agent was benefiting from some of the transfers.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. So I think it was something like that. Because then you had to question why he didn't get another job after that.
And they all left.
Canas,
Pablo, Pozuelo, Michu obviously stayed, but was never the same. I know he got injured, and there's probably different stuff there. Was there any more Spaniards? Amati stayed for a while. Chico went, didn't he? So there's 4 of them that went straight away. Pozuelo's doing right these days as well.
Yeah,
Vasquez was on loan though.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah,
and he was first season anyway, wasn't he? Oh no, second. Schechter was first.
He was second. Yeah.
Schechter scored. Yeah. Vasquez did.
His Wigan.
He should have scored against, I think, one of the European games.
Valencia it was. Yeah, he missed a sitter.
Yeah. Or it was offside or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Rory Donnelly also made his first appearance, and only appearance, away somewhere in Europe. Do you remember that?
Fucking hell.
It was in I can't remember what it was. It was one of the games, and it was horrendous weather. It was misty. You couldn't see anything, even on the TV coverage. It was just horrendous. Like the
Romanian team was like Petrolol or something.
Something like that. Yeah, it was crap. Yeah. What happened to him? He didn't go anywhere, did he? In the end, didn't even go he didn't even get released and play in the EFL. I don't think.
Yeah, we've had some dodgy ones, haven't we?
He was like that Michael Johnson that played for Man City that everyone used to sign him on Football Manager because he was like a wonder kid. And then I saw stories on like Joe or like a Lad Bible or something last couple of years where it's like, what happened to Michael Johnson, the wonder kid from Man City from like all these years ago? And he's there like put on a bit of weight now, and he's just not a footballer anymore because he couldn't handle I think he was one of them kids that had a lot of hype.
Yeah.
Couldn't really handle it, didn't have the right support around him, didn't want to give up his like fast food and be fit and train all the time and all that sort of stuff. And it didn't work out for him at the end. I feel like Rory Donnelly might be in the same sort of boat, but
yeah,
there we go. And a nice little trip down memory lane at the end of the video. We're going to try and make it more regular that we talk about stuff like this and bring some stuff into it. So I won't say what it is now, but keep an eye out for it in the next couple of videos, maybe when we start bringing it in. So got nothing else to say, so it'll be a good time to end it. Cheers for joining me, Lee, and hopefully next week we are continuing perhaps an upward curve and not talking about where it's gone wrong again.
Big week. And we got 3 games next week as well. We got a midweek and a Saturday again next week.
God, this World Cup is carnage, isn't it?
Or was it the week after?
Might be the week Luton after. And then Middlesbrough is on the weekend after.
So we got a week
away, and then it's Stoke away midweek. So I'm guessing they're going to stay up there somewhere. Surely.
Yeah.
And then QPR are home.
Yeah.
That's a difficult week, that is. With the travelling.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good to kind of win against Luton ahead of those games.
Yeah.
Okay, right, we'll call it a day there. We've gone over an hour, so I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to let us know in the comments about all the stuff we spoke about. What do you think is going to happen in the Luton game? What do you make of the 2-2 draw at Millwall? How do you feel about it? Is it end of the world, or is it perhaps maybe not too bad as long as we keep progressing? What camp are you in? Leave a like on the video as well. It helps push us out to more people. And as always, we shall see you in the next video.
See you soon.